See now. So yeah, coming to the today's. Uh, yeah. So the objective of this session is to give an overview of why and what is DevOps, and challenges and benefits of the DevOps, and how the CI/CD helps in software development and the release process, and finally the tools that we can use to adopt the DevOps process. So these are all the objectives that I've listed down. So challenges before DevOps emerged, and what can be done better, and what can be done better to overcome those challenges, and why and what is DevOps, and what does DevOps guys do, and challenges and benefits when we shift into DevOps process, and what is basically a CI/CD, which is a continuous integration and continuous deployment, and AWS DevOps suits, like what are all the services that AWS provides, and sample prototype that yeah, that's for demo. And so yeah, before getting into what DevOps is, we'll see the challenges that the developer and operation teams were facing at those times, and how DevOps emerged overcoming those challenges. So if you look into the developer challenges, so there are inconsistent environments, and so basically there are multiple developers are working on the same project. They may have different environments, right? So that is the inconsistent environments, and the larger releases. So they'll deploy the huge code at a single time, and finally the time to market. So these are all the major developer challenges that these guys are facing. And let's suppose, for example, let's suppose a developer is working for an e-commerce company, and he's responsible for delivering some good products to its customers, which is he also ensured that he is deploying it faster than their competitors. So basically, the role of the developer is to write code for new features and fixing the bugs. And unfortunately, to productionize his work, he needs to wait for weeks time in the existing process. So this delay will increase the pressure of staying competitive with the market. And because of some competitors are able to produce new products uh, and features much faster than him. In addition to this delay also makes it very challenging for the developers to manage the code that is pending to be pushed into production, and the development of the next feature that he is responsible for. Also, finally, he got his code into deployment. He deployed the code into production environment. Occasionally, there might be for unforeseen errors or problems will occur, like some dependency errors. So this mostly happens because the developer was focused on writing the code in his development environment, which is not identical to the production environment. So these are all the major challenges that developer were facing those times. And if you come to operation challenges, we have two here: infrastructural challenges and the scheduled deployments. So when it comes to the operational challenges, right, operational team is basically responsible for maintaining servers and assuring the uptime of the production environment. He also needs to maintain all the servers, and the number of servers will constantly grow because the company continues to launch its new products, and basically customers are consuming more of their services. So, and the main problem is scaling the server in on-premise setup, which is not as effective. And so these are all the uh, operations work that system administrator or some other people will take care of. And finally, when a developer is ready to deploy his code, and the system administrator or some other has to do some changes to it to fit into production environment. So what in the existing process, in the existing delivery process, So what it will take, they will actually schedule the code deployments once in a week or month, and in the weekends. So and once the new code is deployed, these people are also responsible for diagnosing the errors and problems caused by the new changes actually. So yeah, these are all the changes that were exist before DevOps process has come into picture. And so yeah, then coming to next slide, what can be done better to overcome these challenges? So yeah, the organizations must have to find some process in place to help both developers and operations team to work better. Uh, Ultimately, they want their customers to be happy with their product. So the both the development and ops team would have to work better together, and they have to thought more alike, and should break down the tasks and share the responsibilities. So this would require them to change in shift up their mindsets on how basically development and operational works will work. So they have to know, the developer should have to know how the operational team and how the deployment would work. And the operational guy also needs to know how they are actually, developers are actually writing the code, and are they doing any test cases before giving it to production. So yeah, so both the developer and the operational guy should be aware of all the process, and they need to be more collaborative. So yeah, so this can be so when we, so when the developer and operational team would work together, so they might overcome some of the issues that were existing before. So coming to why and what DevOps. So basically, there are multiple definitions in internet. So what actually DevOps is basically integrates dev and ops teams in order to improve collaboration and productivity by automating the workflows and by continuously measuring the application performance. So yeah, so if you see here, so then you can see large scale product based monolithic waterfall based on-premise deployments. So which is basically so when they deploy the code to the production, so it's not small chunks. It's basically huge. Like they'll write all the functionalities at time, and they'll try to deploy it. And so the changing trends are now, it becomes like there are microservices, uh, there are serverless applications, and we have agile in place, and cloud, and you can see, you can even heard of infrastructure as a code, and some other uh, trends are there. So basically we are shifting to those trends. And if you see the pillars here, like people people needs to the developer and operational team should change their mindsets. um, so they're not just responsible for what uh, what the given task, and they also needs to know how it is going to deploy it in the final production environment. And so more into process oriented. uh, they have to have some governance, and they have to ensure the security. And coming to the platform, so platform is where we deploy the code. So they need to have some automation kind of deployments and pipelines. They have to maintain some deployment process in the pipelines. And their code, their process as well, it needs to be loosely coupled, not tightly integrated. So these are all the pillars of DevOps. So also, so yeah, when it comes to what DevOps does, so yeah, if you see here, they'll try to automate everything. So they must maintain identical environments in both development and production systems. And so this basically increase the frequency of deployment. And so they should have a logging and monitoring mechanism in place. and for the infrastructure, they have to use like infrastructure as a code mechanism or to launch the servers or to productionize their codes. And so yeah, to get into more detail, so if both teams are more DevOps oriented, they would have to few things differently. So they would place more focus on automating everything, like automating code testing, automating workflows, and how infrastructure is provisioned. So they would write some small chunks of code that are integrated, tested, monitored, and deployed usually in hours, instead of writing large chunks of softwares, then do testing for weeks. Yeah, they have also have some identical development and production environment based on the same configurations, and they'll basically rewrite small chunks of they write small chunks of code which will increase the frequency of deployments and improves the time of deploying new codes. And they would have a process to monitor or measure and improve the code operations every day. And like there is some term called uh, like time to market. So basically, it improves the ability to respond to market needs or other things that impact software. Instead of uh, building and configuring the software manually, they would write configuration management code that describes how things should be built. So as a result, we can build infrastructure at scale. So they'll also use some source control system to help manage and track the documents of all the changes. It's kind of version control and like Git. So they will also have some performance monitoring and optimizations in utmost real time because they have the application monitoring. And so they always monitor the logs, so they can optimize your code, they can optimize the performance in utmost real time. So finally, so their ultimate goal is to have a production environment that gives their customers a great experience. So that what so basically our DevOps does. So yeah, so there are a few challenges like shifting from uh, waterfall or some other model to DevOps culture. So it requires a cultural shift, and like moving from legacy infrastructure to microservices is basically a time-consuming process. So they have to split their code and they have to productionize into microservices. And yeah, there are few security regulations like so their code must be uh, put in a place where all the security configurations in a single place. So it needs to be uh, split across all the microservices. So there are multiple challenges while implementing the DevOps process, and we need to get the right tools, and we need to get the right tools and right people so that we can achieve like converting from existing process to the DevOps process. And if we come to the benefits, so it allows us to increase the rate of software delivery and improves the time to market, potentially from months and weeks to hours. So this will be a huge competitive advantage, allowing the companies to maintain better. Uh, so this will allow companies to maintain better business focus by automating their infrastructure, so that they can actually focus on things that improve the business and online content, and they'll spend more time on things that add more value to their organizations, not not worrying about all these uh, issues. So yeah. So basically, a CI/CD process is the heart of the DevOps. So CI/CD is basically continuous integration and continuous deployment. So it comes from design to final productionizing and monitoring the application. So basically, they'll design the code, and and they'll develop the code, and they do some unit testing, and then they integrate that piece of code into the existing code, and they'll start, and the user UAT testing will happen. Then finally they'll release the code, and they'll deploy and operate in production environment, and finally they do have some process to monitor their applications. So this is what actually a CI/CD process. And how does like to accomplish this, as mentioned earlier, there are needs to be shifting DevOps oriented mindsets, and two groups that needs to be work closer together. Like Dev is different group, and Ops is different group. Here both needs to be work together. So yeah, uh, for that we'll need a tool for source control, which is basically a GitHub, like GitHub. We also need some tools that allows to test and build the code continuously. For example, Jenkins, and also need a tool for configuration management such as Chef or Puppet. This will actually allow us to deploy the applications in automated fashion, and they also need a place for continuously measuring the performance and applications. So this can be achieved by generating, reading, and analyzing the system logs. So this will allow us to know how the entire application is performed and to identify the bottlenecks. So yeah, in conclusion, basically DevOps is a new philosophy that can help organizations to innovate faster and be more responsible to business needs. And it promotes collaboration between developers and operations, so which improves quality of the software deployment and more frequent software releases. So yeah, so we see here these are all the uh, services that were AWS provided for the DevOps process. So if you look into CI/CD services, so yeah, there are multiple, like code build is basically uh, builds the code, like few if you have worked on any Node.js or Python environment, you might know how to build the code. So basically there are some package management, like so in Node.js there is something called npm, and in Java there is something called Maven. So we need to, so it needs to be, the code needs to be compiled and built. So for that we are using code build, and it also take care of running the unit tests. We can run unit tests in the code build. So code build is basically it will provide a container instance, and it will allow us to run Linux commands on top of it. It's kind of a Dockerized version of uh, AWS. So and code deploy. So once you build your code, it will try to deploy your code in the uh, production environment. Let's suppose so you're having so you are deploying the code in S3. It will deploy it in S3, and so few people they'll deploy it in EC2 instances. Yeah, you can do that in code deploy, and yeah, and if you come into infrastructure as a code, so basically uh, CloudFormation is basically a template where you can just list down all your resources that required to be in that. They'll actually uh, like you don't need to go and create DynamoDB tables or AWS Lambda functions or some other AWS services in the console. You have some code mechanism. CloudFormation will allow us to deploy everything for us. And so yeah, config. If you see config manager, config what actually does, so it will store all your security credentials, and and you can use it in your application. And it's basically configuration management. And yeah, system manager, it will apply the patches to your application, and it will also try to get the system images. And OpsWorks is basically kind of a chef it's basically a configuration management tool. Uh, yeah, and coming to other services. So coming to so we have monitoring and logging bucket here. Here you have CloudWatch. CloudWatch is basically it helps us to collect and track metrics, and you can also set alarms, and you can also create rules, and so you can also create schedules in CloudWatch. It's kind of a scheduler, and we see CloudTrail. So it records all the API calls. So who is doing what and all, it will record. And coming to microservices, you might have heard about Dockers and containerizing systems. So ECS is basically Elastic Container Service. It's kind of a Docker in AWS, and so yeah, and Lambda is basically a serverless function. So it has some limited kind of support. Like the runtime would be like 15 minutes, and the memory of the instance would be like 3 GB. So it's basically a serverless application, Lambda. And so for version control, so we have a code commit. It's basically uh, a replica of Git, and so some people use Beanstalk so for their deployment. So it serves as a platform as a service. And these are all the major DevOps suite that provided by AWS. And yeah, any questions to this? Okay. Okay. So yeah. So so this is basically a prototype which we have built for one of our client. So what it actually does, so we have five AWS accounts. So what we have done, uh, we have named it as, so for one account we are using only for DevOps, like storing the codes and building it and creating the code pipeline and deployments all for all the purpose. So we are using the DevOps account, and there is some development account as well, and we have the staging account which is identical to production account. So what actually does, whenever if you see the flow, whenever a user developer commits the code to the code commit, which is basically a Git. So basically when he commits to the dev branch, so it will trigger the dev pipeline. So dev pipeline will take care of deploying the code in development account. And if you look into the process, so basically from the code commit, it will get the that particular commit ID, and then it will pull all the changes in that particular artifact, and it will try to build that. And it will store the code into S3 bucket. And then we have something called, we have CloudFormation. So uh, we also have the infrastructure as a code here. So we'll try to deploy those infrastructure using CloudFormation template. So what actually does that, it will create the change set and it will try to deploy that changes in dev account. So yeah, whenever so if you look into the fourth process, so whenever the admin or some other guy will pull the code from dev account and merge it to master branch. So basically, we have two branches here, dev and master branch. Whenever there is something happen to the master branch, uh, the prod pipeline will trigger. So what it actually does, it will also do the same. It will fetch the artifact from the code commit, and it will try to build using code build, and it will push that code to the S3 bucket. And for infrastructure as a code, so we're using same CloudFormation template, and it will create the changes. chain set, and finally deploy the chain set in the staging account. So once we go and test the code in staging account, we'll sign up. We'll get sign up from the approver. He'll get an email like so something needs to be manually approved. Then we'll push it to production account. Here also it will try to deploy the chain set, and finally the resource gets deployed in all the accounts. So yeah, and let me show the pipeline. So here I have so this is the AWS console. So code commit is basically a kind of Git. So here you have all the branches, dev and master branch, and so in this we have a build spec. You can see the build spec. So this is the local version of the code. So see the build spec. It's kind of you can see the Docker commands here. So all the we can run all the Linux commands. So we have to create the chain set, right? So we are just building the codes, and we are moving some of the codes to AWS. So this is what build does. So using the build spec, and so yeah, I'll also show you that. See here, whenever there is an commit to the dev branch, so this pipeline will trigger. So it will fetch that commit ID, and it will try to build it in code build. Using code build, it will try to build, and once it's done, I will try to deploy that CloudFormation template changes CloudFormation chain set in the dev account, not here. This is basically DevOps account. You will try to deploy it in dev account. So how we have achieved that? We have created some IAM roles and allowed that account to access this role. We have done some awesome work here, and finally to try to deploy it in dev account. So once we go to code, once you create a pull request, from dev to master, we're just exporting the code from dev to master here. Then once we merge both, so the production pipeline will trigger. So this is the production pipeline. Here also we'll do the same thing. First, it will get the code from code commit, and then build that changes, and it will try to deploy the changes to staging account. There is other staging account here. It will try to deploy to staging, and then the manual approval part is there. So the approver will get email, and it will wait for his sign off. So once he gives the sign off, so the production deploying to production will happen, and here doing the same thing, like creating the change set of that particular CloudFormation template, and it will try to deploy those changes. So yeah, and sorry. So this is the architecture of it. You can have a look into it, and if you have any questions, let me know. Okay, good. So here I've also put together like the DevOps process, and what are all the who are all vendors that are supporting on these stages. So if you see for like verify, create, plan, and then monitor, configure. So it will come from this. create, verify, pre-production, release, and config management, monitoring, and plan. So it will basically chain. Here you can see the multiple process that supports the in each bucket here. So if you see the configure, so there are chef and salt stack, which will configuration management tools. And if you see the release process, and we have a Atlassian, chef, and these vendors are also supporting these release processes. Yeah. So yeah, that's all from me. Any questions?
Yeah, hi Jagdish. This is Venkatesh from Asset Mark team.
We haven't.
Yeah. So I'm actually working on this Azure DevOps. So I could correlate some things with this presentation. So you were
Okay.
mentioning about development pipeline and prod pipeline, right?
Yeah.
So, do we have any sort of classification of pipelines like release pipelines and build pipelines in AWS?
Pipeline is basically it comprises all the processes, right? It must have it's kind of how to say, it's kind of chain of what needs to be done first, and then from that what needs to be taken care of next. It's kind
So
of
this pipeline is more
of
like
all the yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, go.
Yeah. So it is more with creating the required build and deploying it. Is it?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So you might have heard about data pipelines, right? So this is basically code pipeline.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Hi, Jagdi. This is Aparna. I have one question as in with respect to the individual pipelines, like for the development and staging and production. So
Yeah.
the pipelines are entirely different, or are they channelized to move automatically from one to another?
Yeah, there are few triggers. So whenever you push into dev branch, so it will trigger the development pipeline, and you will try to deploy it in development account. And
But the staging one is continued automatically, or it is individual triggers?
no, it will continue automatically.
Okay, so
So
essentially, if
only two
you
branches.
okay.
We have two branches, dev and master. Dev is basically responsible for putting it to dev account, and the master branch is responsible to first it will try to deploy it in staging account. So the users will check the deployment, and if they feel everything works fine, they'll ask for the manual approval. Okay,
Okay.
then the approver will approve the changes, and so the prod pipeline will automatically trigger.
And this approval is also it's essentially a code trigger or rather a pipeline trigger, or is it just a checkbox sort of a thing wherein it waits for the update to happen,
It's
as in whether
basically
it's approved
checkbox.
or not?
Basically checkbox. It needs to be manually approved. Like they have to come and give the comments, and then once they approve, give the approve button. The next process will take care.
Okay, so if the it is approved, then it is the pipeline is triggered for the production, staging and production, and if it is not approved, then it's essentially going back to correcting something in the development code and then
Yeah,
restarting the entire cycle, right?
exactly. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is a pipeline. So this sequence of steps here. So getting the source, building it, and deploying it to staging. and then here comes the manual approval part. So it will wait for approver to approve this. Once he gets approved, and this next process will automatically triggered. Yeah, thanks for the question, Aparna. Any other questions? Okay, then, yeah, let's wrap up this call, this meet, and yeah, thanks for joining.